Kenya. Emmanuel To, KTN News, Nairobi.
So Britain's tarnished colonial past took center stage in Nairobi as King Charles III began the state visit, poised to acknowledge painful aspects of the country's long shared history. Accompanied by Queen Camilla on his first visit as monarch to the former colony, King Charles arrived at Uhuru Gardens hours after he was hosted for ceremonial military rituals at State House, Nairobi by President William Ruto. Brenda Zeda Radido tells us the significance of Uhuru Gardens, where Kenya's independence flag was first hoisted.
Langata or Langata Consecration Camp, now revamped and renamed Uhuru Gardens, is where the second royal engagement took place, where the king unveiled a plague and was seen wiping at his cheek as he laid a wreath at the tomb of an unknown warrior. The couple then viewed the Mugomo tree planted on December 12, 1964, to commemorate the day Kenya was declared independent. This marks the spot where the Union flag was lowered and the Kenyan flag raised for the first time. Uhuru in Kenya, meaning freedom. This is a place where colonial authorities resorted to executions and detention without trial as they tried to put down the Mau Mau insurrection, and thousands of Kenyans said they were beaten and sexually assaulted by agents of the administration. During the 2021 Jamhuri Day celebrations, former President Uhuru Kenyatta revisited the dark history behind the concentration camps in Kenya, in which he linked to those operated by Nazi Germany.
On these very grounds sat the largest concentration camp in colonial Africa, holding up to 10,000 freedom fighters at any one given time. Many of our compatriots were tortured and maimed for life in that camp, and many more unknown heroes died in this field.
At the camp, which now sits at the famous newly revamped Uhuru Gardens, Kenyatta revealed that the British colonial government had imprisoned an estimated 10,000 of Kenya's gallant and most feared liberators. At the camps, Kenyan freedom fighters are said to have undergone horrific treatment, including being tortured for information that would serve the colonial masters who sought to curtail the agitation for independence. Scores of Kenyans are said to have died as a result of the inhumane treatment meted on them. Similar detention facilities are located across the country where liberators were subjected to unimaginable treatment. This, however, did not deter them as they remained resilient until Kenya gained independence and eventually became a republic. The Langata Consecration Camp has now been rehabilitated and morphed into a place of remembrance, with the founding fathers advising it should serve as a reminder of Kenya's dark colonial past. The king, during his visit, certainly saw that indeed darkness can be turned into positive energy. Interestingly, the king's state visit coincided with the birthday of the late revolutionary and freedom fighter Field Marshal Dedan Kimathi Washuri, who would be turning 103 today if he would have been alive. Dedan Kimathi was born on October 31st, 1920 in Thige village near Nyeri in central Kenya. He was the leader of Mau Mau movement and was regarded a revolutionary who fought the colonial powers until his execution. During the king's tour, a stone carving of the late Dedan Kimathi was displayed boldly at Uhuru Gardens, and certainly he must have passed by it. Kiama Kiama on Monday in Nairobi demanded the return of Kimathi remains and condemned the planned visit to Uhuru Gardens by the royal family, calling it a mockery to the freedom fighters who were brutally tortured and maimed. The king is this evening expected to acknowledge the painful history during the state banquet at State House, Nairobi. Uhuru Gardens now seeks to embody Kenya's history, becoming an illumination of the future, weaved in hope, written in pictures, sculptures, and historical artifacts. Brenda Zeda Radido, KTN News.
President William Ruto is at the moment hosting visiting King